We are now delighted to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Bilal Anwar, a leading expert in international climate policy and sustainable development with over 20 years of experience, especially in climate finance. जनवरी 2022 से मिस्टर अनवर जो हैं वो CEO हैं नेशनल डिजास्टर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट फंड के NDRMF, and this organization they have generously supported this effort जो हम यहाँ पर हैं. Thanks to their support, we have been able to invite all of you from all over Pakistan, and so that you could participate and share your own stories. So we would like to thank NDRMF. Mr. Anwar's ability to secure significant financial support for climate action is evident from his role as General Manager of the Commonwealth Climate Finance Access Hub, where he helped mobilize $700 million across 15 countries. We look forward to hearing his valuable insights on climate finance today, so please join me in welcoming Mr. Bilal.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and very good morning and very wet morning. आप लोग दूर दराज से आए हो तो इस्लामाबाद इलाके में the output, which is absolutely great actually. थोड़ा सी ज़्यादा हो रही है सुबह, लेकिन ये है कि still it's a good other than the humidity which you have been experiencing for the last few days. So thank you, a very generous introduction. Normally मैं अपने आप को सिर्फ climate policy और climate finance practitioner के तौर पे introduce करवाता था, and I think that matches my role and a little bit of a contribution which might have done last over 24-25 years. Good to see you. मैं थोड़ी सी information दे रहा था कि ये बच्चे बच्चियाँ कहाँ से आए हैं और उनका background क्या है और which remote areas they come from and why they are here for summer school on climate change, which is an absolute delight actually. Youngster or youths they are coming up and they're taking a very deep interest in this particular subject. It has a lot of values. I can assure you that. Many years ago, I was young like you. And look at me, I built a career on climate finance, and not a bad career at all actually, you know. So इसमें अभी भी बड़ा potential है, बल्कि आने वाले दिनों में इससे भी ज़्यादा potential है. So I think you are at the right place at the right time, and you should grab every single opportunity with your both hands and learn yourself, develop your skills, and see what is happening globally. Whatever is happening on climate finance is happening globally. Pakistan में बहुत काम हो रहा है. Although I'll be highlighting a little bit के हमारे challenges क्या हैं, this and that. लेकिन ये पूरी science evolve कहीं और हो रही है. We are just the followers, and we're just trying to kind of catch up this pass unsuccessfully, and we're not going to be extremely successful in mobilizing financing. So congratulations to you. So I'll very strongly encourage you to look into this, develop yourselves, your skills, develop your deeper understanding. It's intensely interesting and complex subject. Depends, if you like complexity, I think this is what I'm going to be highlighting is complex, and there is a reason for that. I don't want to be a pessimist. Lekin I think it's very important for a young brains like yourself to give the full picture, and for you to kind of prepare for that, because you might want to actually put a lot more effort, and शायद आप में से बहुत से लोग ऐसे होंगे जो complexity को पसंद करते होंगे, and there is so much to unravel, there is so much to learn, there is so much to do with it. So this is what I'm going to do in this presentation is normally मैं इस तरह के colors नहीं, I'm a very black, grey and white kind of a person. अगर आप मेरी पिछली presentation यहाँ पे भी देखेंगी पिछले 20 साल की तो 3 colors आपको नजर आएंगे. There's a lot of white space in those, and there's a lot of grey in textures, and there's a lot of black. in that, and somehow it reflects my personality. I put an extra effort to bring the bright colors into it for today's session actually, because I didn't want to be pessimist here, and I don't want to actually paint a picture of doom and gloom. So I hope I will be successful in that. So you come from different backgrounds. हम ऐसे कुछ environmental sciences से हैं, कुछ social sciences से भी हैं लोग? Yes sir. Social sciences से हैं, that's good. And engineering, law, base sciences, natural sciences, physics, chemistry, maths, geography. Okay, that's great. So now that's a single person need to understand all these subjects to deal with climate finance. That's what it is, and that's what makes it so interesting. To be very honest with you, either you kind of applying, either you building your career into it, academic career. You want to pursue a PhD. Dr. साहब ने जैसे Pro 9 में जाके की, और इसी तरह. So you have to go through a very vast spread of the subject matters, and you have to draw the interlinkages between them. वो कहते होते हैं कि नए ideas और नई sciences वो जन्म लेती हैं on the fringes of old sciences. So climate finance, so the one way of looking at it is that climate finance में कुछ भी नया नहीं है. The fringes of physics, maths, law, mainstream finance, mainstream accounting, mainstream economics, और उसी को मिला जुला कर हमने कहा कि नहीं अब इसको climate finance का नाम दे देते हैं, we'll put a new terminology around it, and so I think that's the one way of looking at it. But then that interlinkages and that combinations, I think that makes it super exciting, super interesting. And I'm sure you all have that kind of open-mindedness, and you are allowing your brain to kind of look into a lot more open-minded and open heart manner, so that you can actually draw the interlinkages between them. So you need to understand a bit of everything in order to understand the climate finance, and that's how they have actually made it so complex. So, but we are living in a very new reality. I normally don't like to call it. Everyone says, "Oh, it's a new reality. It's a new normal." So, you agree with that? Is it a new normal? Do you think conceptually, is it a right way to interpret? अगर हम हर चीज को, हर abnormality को normalize ही करते चले जाएंगे, and this does not apply to this subject. It applies to human rights. It applies to political rights. It applies to so many other things. अगर हर चीज को हम normalize ही करते जाएंगे, where the change is going to come from? Who is going to trigger the change? So I personally, when it comes to the climate change, I spent my 25-26 years into climate change. I dropped into climate change in 1999. I'm an economist by training. I started working on climate change in 1999 in the UN Climate Change Program in Bonn, Germany. And since then, actually, I'm just sticking around. And I never actually considered that issue as a new normal. So it's not a new normal. Yes, it's a new reality. It's a new evolving context. We have to evolve with it. We have to change. We have to calibrate. We have to redesign ourselves. We have to redesign a number of things. The way we talk, the way we walk, the way we eat, the way we entertain, the way we commute, the way we consume energy. Everything needs to be redesigned. So it goes. Contradiction आ जाती है जब आप कहते हैं कि ये नया नॉर्मल है. आप कैसे कहेंगे कि ये नया नॉर्मल है? हमारा जो इस वक्त कंसंट्रेशन है हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर के ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस की, वो 417 ppm है, पार्टिकल्स पर मिलियंस. ये लेवल आज से कोई 303 मिलियन साल पहले था. So that's how full circle we have come. So when atmospheric conditions with process को run कर रही है और हमें dehydrate कर रही है, so and many parts of Pakistan and many parts of the world actually these days we actually come across these kind of readings कि वो 50 degree above को hit कर रहे हैं. दैट्स नॉट बेरेबल। और हमारे बेशुमार लोग जो हैं वो हीट वेव की वजह से मर जाते हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि किसी को हार्ट फेलियर हो जाता है तो उसको हीट वेव के वो कैटेगरी में नहीं डाला जाता। कोई मजदूर जो होते हैं वो ऊंचाई पे अगर काम कर रहे हैं तो वो गिर जाते हैं उसको एक्सीडेंट की कैटेगरी में, बट दैट एवरीथिंग इज रिलेटेड टू क्लाइमेट चेंज। आई थिंक दिस होल statistical analysis, this whole kind of equation need to be reconsidered. Because authorities want to bring the numbers down. They do not want to associate with the climate change. They do not want to associate with the high temperature. So we are already the average is 1.1 degree centigrade, and which is actually I think the most worrisome phenomena is कि ये सारा टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज जो है ये 1975 के बाद उसमें एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ हुई है। स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम मिड 18th सेंचुरी 19th सेंचुरी जब इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हुआ, लेकिन 1975 के बाद क्योंकि सडनली हमारा एनर्जी कंजप्शन, हमारा लिविंग स्टाइल, हमारा इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल, हमारी गाड़ियाँ और ये वो इतना ज़्यादा इंक्रीज कर गया। तो देयर आर सिनेरियोज, देयर आर एक्चुअली स्टडीज व्हिच आर शोइंग कि वो जो पेरिस एग्रीमेंट का टारगेट था 1.5 to 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, we have already overshot that. That's not possible anymore. So the temperature increase is going to be 5 scenarios कहे जाते हैं, lower end scenario to higher end scenario. The higher end scenario actually goes around 4.8 to 4.9 degree centigrade as well. तो अगर वो जो हमारे भाई उधर वो बच्चा पीछे बैठा हुआ है और अगर 1.1 डिग्री के ऊपर ही वो 55 डिग्री को हिट कर रहे हैं, तो आप सोचिए ज़रा कि 3.8, 3.5 या 4.2 डिग्री के ऊपर क्या होगा। और सिर्फ ये नहीं कि टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होगा, erraticness of the weather and number of other things actually going to happen. We are seeing this कि एक increasing frequency आ रही है, intensity आ रही है, जो extreme weather related events हैं, हमें catastrophic events और disasters कहते हैं। मेरा अपना इदारा जो है वो उसका मैंडेट है कि हम डिज़ास्टर डिस्ट्रक्शन, डिज़ास्टर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट को हम बेसिकली मैनेज करते हैं। और विद दिस काइंड ऑफ चेंजेस विद डिफरेंस इंक्रीजेस, नो इंस्टीट्यूशन एक्चुअली इन द वर्ल्ड इज गोइंग टू बी कैपेबल ऑफ एक्चुअली डूइंग एनी मीनिंगफुल जॉब, एंड दिस इज व्हाट वी आर एक्चुअली फेसिंग on our end as well. Mass extinction of wildlife, I don't know how many of you are nature lovers, animal lovers, और इसी तरह से जो बाकी species हैं, लेकिन even if you are not lovers, they actually do quite a useful ecosystem service for us, and they maintain many services within our ecosystem. उनकी mass extinction जो है is going to be resulting in such a heavy catastrophic and such a heavy losses. So it's a pretty serious picture. So what does it mean? I think it has, but I personally believe that it has really it has shattered us. It has shattered and it has really undermined this very fundamental and a long-held belief जो हम और हमसे पहली जनरेशन, हमसे पहली जनरेशन जो थी, किसी हद तक वो इवॉल्व हुआ हमें कि जो हमारा नेचुरल सिस्टम है वो inherently built-in system है for its regeneration, for its fixing, refixing, and kind of just allowing itself to grow once more. And so it has this unchanging envelope of variability. So we always have this ज़मीन जो है उसको जिस तरह मर्जी आप कल्टीवेट करते हैं तो वो रिकवर हो जाती है, दरख्त जो हैं वो दोबारा से उठते हैं, समुंदर जो हैं they live here for whatever amount of time. So I think this belief has been shattered now. So we come to the conclusion that natural resources are not infinite; they are finite. There is there's a limit to it. So we have to be extremely careful कि हम इनको कैसे utilization करें. The other consequence of it is mitigation action, which is kind of reducing the further addition of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. We need to control that. We need to cut it down, which is technical language for mitigation. The other thing is that adaptation is mandatory. We all need to change. We have to change our lifestyle. We have to change everything the way we do. and we have to adapt to the new kind of challenges. So it's mandatory to minimize the impacts. But at the same time, adaptation has its own limitations as well. We just cannot keep on adapting ourselves. मुझे एक belief था कि humans are so ingenious, they are so creative, they are so intelligent, and they always come up with the solutions. And I think with the scale of the challenge and the gravity of the problem we are facing with it, I think there is a need to kind of question ourselves whether are we really genius or creative and solution-oriented and innovative and intelligent. And then every intelligence, every innovation, every creativity has its own limitations as well. So we should only create the mess, the scale of the mess and the gravity of the mess which we can actually clean up and we can actually address it. So I think this is really slightly kind of at a philosophical level, but I think this has really shattered us. And this is a direct bearing the climate finance, the climate action, the mitigation, the adaptation, and everything actually what we want to do. No, what is climate finance? So, उससे पहले डॉक्टर साहब ने आपको एक he gave a flavor, and I'm going to actually make that flavor muddier. I'm going to shatter that flavor. Life is never that smooth, and that's the beauty of life. And that applies equally to climate finance, climate science actually in general as well. So I think the very first thing to remember is there is no agreed definition of climate finance in the world. There is no definition. We can devise one. We can devise one here actually today, and we can come up with a definition. It's going to be a functional definition. It's going to be a operational definition, and it might have some limitations, but it's going to have some inherent advantages as well, because this is going to be based on the experiences. This will be based on the very real life and real time experience. मुझसे पहले जब मैं आके बैठा तो आप लोग वो cost और उसके ऊपर कुछ बातचीत कर रहे थे, और there was a lot of interaction, there's a lot of kind of inputs going on, and I think this is the kind of information which actually can allow us to come up with some kind of function, some kind of operational definition. So there is globally no agreed definition of climate finance. I think you should all be raising your hand, you should be asking that इसमें क्या है, हमें एक definition होने की ज़रूरत ही क्या है, या अगर नहीं आज तक हो सकी तो क्यों नहीं हो सकी? इतने बड़े मसाइल हम चांद पे एलन मस्क लगा हुआ रॉकेट भेज रहा हो, स्पेस टूरिज्म कर रहा है, तो ये सारे के सारे इतने नालायक है कि अभी तक वो एक ग्लोबली एग्रीड डेफिनेशन के ऊपर नहीं आ सके. And by the way, actually I was in the UNFCCC for 12 years, and I was in the middle of these debates, climate finance debates, or conceptual debates, or the intellectual debates, or इसको कैसे इसमें लेके आना. तो अगर आप उन सबको नलायक गिनना चाहते हो, I'm part of it, because and I've been part of it. These discussions के एक definition होनी चाहिए, and we actually had a number of meetings, a number of consultations, a number of round tables, a number of workshops, and we've never been able to agree on a single definition. आपके ख्याल में क्या इसमें चैलेंज होगा, क्यों?
सर क्लाइमेट इटसेल्फ बहुत वास्ट है और उसके अंदर आप क्योंकि बहुत कुछ कवर करते हैं, तो जब तक आप वो सारी चीज़ें डिफाइन नहीं कर देंगे तब तक आप उनका फाइनेंस भी डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि जिधर आपने इनपुट देना है आपको पहले वो चीज़ डिफाइन करनी होगी, देन यू विल डिफाइन कि आप उसमें कितना इनपुट देंगे, आप उसमें कितना, क्योंकि फाइनेंस तो इज़ ऑल अबाउट मनी, और फिर जो आपके स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं वो कहाँ पे उसमें इनपुट देंगे, वो आपको अभी जैसे पाकिस्तान है इसके इश्यूज़ कुछ और तरह के हैं, यहाँ पे मतलब कौन सी कंपनीज इन्वॉल्व होंगी उसे सॉल्व करने के लिए, वो कुछ हो रहा है, यूरोप में कुछ हो रहा होगा, अमेरिका में कुछ हो रहा होगा, तो इतना इनका पर्सपेक्टिव होता है, फिर सबको एक टेबल पे लेके आना और उसको डिफाइन कर देना, वो काफ़ी टफ.
Yeah, I mean you're right. Anyone else? जी प्लीज.
सर क्योंकि हम अभी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की तरफ नहीं है, तो जब तक हम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की तरफ नहीं आएंगे तो हम फाइनेंस को जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते.
Counter question to you. जब तक हम फाइनेंस को डिफाइन नहीं करेंगे तो हम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे कर पाएंगे? Maybe I think it's a valid question. Anyway, so there are a lot of definitions out there. आप गूगल करेंगी, अभी आप करेंगी, आपको हजारों definitions मिल जाएंगी, और at least जगह तो पूरे मिल जाएंगी आपको. Climate finance refers to financial resource instrument that are used to support action on climate change. Very simple, very neat, very clean definition. तो उसी को क्यों नहीं adopt कर लेते? I'll come to that. Climate finance is a multifaceted concept आपने कहा, और generally refers to finance for activities aiming to mitigate and adapt to climate change. So mitigation and adaptation, ठीक है? Local, national, transnational or international financing drawn from public, private or alternative sources, and financing supporting for mitigation and adaptation. So इसमें दो तीन चीजें हैं, पता नहीं आपने नोट की है या नहीं की, इसमें दो तीन चीजें हैं जो कि बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है, ठीक है? So एक तो है in the very first definition, it basically says resources and instruments. Resource फर्क को पता है, it's a capital, it's a dollar, it's a money, it's a rupee, it's whatever. What are the instruments? Anyone from finance?
Instruments like loans, bonds, and investments. In terms of that, instruments can be loans.
True. Yeah. So instruments are loan, grants, credit lines, de-risking, financial bridging, financial leveraging, and it goes on and on and on. So when we're talking about the finance, climate finance, we're talking about a lot more than just money. So I think that's one thing. The other one is कि कोई भी definition आप उठाएंगे, उसमें दो चीजें आपको common मिलेंगी. एक है mitigation और दूसरा है adaptation. So anything, it has to be focused and it has to be oriented through either mitigation or adaptation. So ये एक commonality है, this is a common thread. These are local, national, transnational. It can come from very different sources. Local from private sector, from the government, public money, or it can be from national, or it can be international as well. So this is just I didn't do any research. I just kind of pick up few randomly. I didn't apply my mind here. I just wanted to just highlight the complexity and the challenge of it. And there are several more. So I think the one challenge is एक implication जो है ना, very interesting implication है कि जब से ये issue इतना highlight हो गया, you relate on that front as well. So the other end, yes, we are at risk. It happened to be because of the geographical location, atmospheric condition, and all this. You would just say we are one of the most vulnerable countries. But what we have been doing actually to address this situation? I think this is the most fundamental question which we need to ask ourselves. कि ये आ गई information, हमें पता चल गया कि हम vulnerable हैं, हमें पता चल गया कि हमारा global हमारी contribution तो इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं. Then what? What we have done? Have we come up with the right kind of policies? Have we initiated the behavior changes?
No.
Maybe not. I don't know what is the temperature thermostat in this room. लेकिन इस किस्म के वेदर में मुझे ये सूट पहन के आना चाहिए था. लेकिन मसला ये है कि मुझे उसके बाद एक EAD की मीटिंग में जाना, मैं सूट नहीं पहना, मुझे सीरियस नहीं लेंगे. So that's the problem. So I think this is what we need to do. When we look at Pakistan, I think we've been completely unsuccessful in attracting the climate finance. We actually lower than some of the very small comparable countries, not comparable, very small countries. Some of the small islands, for example Fiji or Solomon Islands or Barbados, हम उनसे भी नीचे थे. लेकिन let's understand the context first. The cost what we have paid in terms of losses, and purely directly losses due to climate change induced disasters. I think the graph is there, you can look at it, but I think the total economic losses till 2021, from 1990, it is around 9.1% of our GDP. That's huge, 31.6 billion. ये आप टीवी में सुनते होंगे कि हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर्स और बाकी लोग और एक बिलियन के लिए कहाँ तक पहुँच रहे होते हैं. And here in a matter of 25-30 years, we have actually let go $31.6 billion. Flood 22 alone was $15.2 billion, or 4% of the GDP. So we're talking about in about 30 years, we're talking about 15% of the GDP. I don't know, some of you may be studying economics. I'm an economist, so I can actually picture this perfectly in my head. If 15% of the GDP का क्या मतलब? It's huge, it's massive, it's a very heavy cost, it's a very heavy price which we are paying. And now being able to not been able to attract the climate finance. Another way of looking at it is हमारा mission profile. अगर हम देखें तो even in that context as well, अगर हम अपने per capita mission देखें और हमारी जो हमारी GDP है in terms of the dollars देखें तो उसमें भी we are on the lower end of the GDP, and our emissions are nearly at par, for example with Bangladesh which has higher GDP. आजकल कुछ अच्छी चीज़ों के लिए खबरों में नहीं है वो, लेकिन ये है कि economically they have done well, and they've been able to actually control their emissions as well with all the textile and all the industrialization and everything else which has been going on in Bangladesh. So with the 0.5 per capita emissions, they've been able to achieve $460 billion of the GDP, and similarly if we compare this to Pakistan, I think we have some ground to cover. So just wanted to highlight and just want to contextualize it in different ways so you can understand कि हमारा context actually है क्या. Now I think you can see that more than 40 billion cumulative losses from 1990 to 2022. Global carbon emissions much lower as compared to other comparable countries in terms of the GDP, are ranked as 6. So this is the statement I was talking about. Now, this has been a picture in terms of the sources of climate finance flows in Pakistan, and it took me a lot of effort actually to actually come up with these numbers. I have gone through so many documents and so many reports and collected so many.
ये करते हैं न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज को इंट्रोड्यूस करके, लाइक हम मेजर क्रॉप्स वीट शुगर केन और ये प्रोड्यूस करते हैं और इसके एक्सपोर्ट को हम ज़्यादा करते हैं, तो ओवरऑल जो हमारे पास फाइनेंस होगा वो इंक्रीज़ होगा न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज़ को एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में इंट्रोड्यूस करने से. तो वो हमारा एनर्जी में ज़्यादा जा रहा था और एग्रीकल्चर जो जिसमें हम मतलब प्रोफिशिएंट है बना रहे हैं उसमें बहुत कम जा रहा था. तो ये मुझे इस चीज़ का थोड़ा वो लगा कि हम इस चीज़ को फाइनेंस को ओवरऑल एक्सपोर्ट करके अपनी क्रॉप्स को इंक्रीज़ कर सकते हैं.
होम फ्रंट पे देखते हैं, पाकिस्तान के लेवल के ऊपर देखते हैं, तो यहाँ पे आई थिंक यहाँ पे जो हमसे मिस्टेक्स हुई हैं दे आर रियली वेरी सीरियस मिस्टेक्स. मैं तो मिस्टेक नहीं करता, मतलब वो तो कबीरा गुनाहों के क्लास की मिस्टेक्स हैं, तो उस लेवल की. अच्छा, उसमें अब जो चेंजिंग रियलिटी थी, जो चेंजिंग हालात थे, उनके साथ अपने जो डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स ऑफ इकोनॉमीज हैं, जैसे एग्रीकल्चर है या आपकी एनर्जी है या इंडस्ट्री है, उसको अलाइन करना, उसके साथ उसमें रिफाइनमेंट लेके आना और टेक्नोलॉजिकल इम्प्रूवमेंट लेके आना, वो नहीं आई. हमने अपनी पॉलिसीज़ को रिफाइन नहीं किया ताकि स्ट्रीमलाइन हो सके, और अगर कोई एक अच्छा आइडिया जो है उसको लेके आगे जाना चाहता है, कन्वर्ट करना चाहता है टेंजेबल बैंकेबल प्रोजेक्ट की शक्ल में, तो वो सपोर्ट सिस्टम ही हमने डेवलप नहीं किए. और उसके बाद हमने ऐसा भी कुछ मैकेनिज्म नहीं डेवलप किया कि हम यूथ और जो लोग एक्टिव हैं इन फ्रंट्स के ऊपर, हम उनके लिए एक नॉलेज सोर्स या कुछ ऐसा मैकेनिज्म क्रिएट कर सके जहाँ पे वो अपना इस तरह का नॉलेज डेवलप कर पाते. तो आई थिंक द लिस्ट इज रादर रियली लॉन्ग. यू डोंट नीड टू बग डाउन बाय द लिस्ट. आई थिंक आजकल तो कुछ भी सीखना इतना आसान हो गया कि वो जो लिमिटेशन पहली वाली नस्ल को थी या अभी तक हैं, यू कैन रियली ओवरकम टू दैट. नॉट द हाई स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स या थोड़ी सी ज्यादती भी होगी उनके साथ हाई स्कूल लेवल के ऊपर, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट विद यू, क्योंकि द लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग विच इज रिक्वायर्ड टू टेक द आइडिया इनटू सम काइंड ऑफ मिडल शेप, तो वो थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. और वैसे भी एंजॉय करें हाई स्कूल को. थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई थिंक